All right, so you're saying with Elaine, y'all had kind of a cooperative play school?
Before Randall and Trina even started school,
Mm-hmm.
we had a cooperative play school
Okay.
where the mothers had to take turns teaching.
Okay.
And that's how Elaine and I met.
So how old was Randall at this point?
Probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
And
Did y'all teach together or?
probably, I don't really recall, but we became friends. And she and her husband would have parties at their home, and we'd attend,
Okay.
playing volleyball and uh, all kinds of games.
Were you any good at volleyball?
Oh, I was good at volleyball.
Oh, really? Were you good at spiking it or serving?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Because I was tall.
I figured.
I was good at volleyball in high school.
I'd imagine so. I mean, with your height, sure.
But one time we were at a tournament in Dickinson,
Mm-hmm.
and there were quite a few schools participating. I learned later that I had been chosen as the outstanding player
Mm-hmm.
out of everyone, except that I blew it because I got mad at myself for not doing so great, and I started telling the coach to take me out. I would call, "Take me out, take me out." Well, they thought that was poor sportsmanship, I guess, or something. Anyway, I lost my role.
Oh, no. But at least you found out that you had that going for you.
Yeah, yeah, I was told later. So, anyway, that was in a Dickinson tournament.
So that was when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But,
Well, that's cool.
we used to have a little concession stand
Mm-hmm.
in the corner of the gymnasium for every game that was played to earn money for our class and for the football games, and which of course we didn't have lights in it, so they were played in the afternoons, or if it got dusk, the cars would all line up and turn on their headlights.
Yeah.
We earned money that way for a senior trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a 3-week senior trip. And 3 cars of us. Melly was engaged to Perry Brown the night we graduated, and he took a car.
Mm-hmm.
Marge Fay was going with Floyd Brown Jr., who she married,
Mm-hmm.
and he took a car, and our superintendent took a car,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to Carlsbad Caverns and Grand Canyon and Royal Gorge, Painted Desert, and everything in between, Carlsbad and Pikes Peak,
Mm-hmm.
and
Which is a treacherous climb from what I've heard.
yeah, and then we were there in Kansas for a little bit, and then came on.
What were you doing in Kansas?
Well, that was where the Friends Church was headquartered, was in Kansas.
Why were they headquartered there?
I guess when they came across and settled in the 1895.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we were there for for Leon Brown's wedding. And course, none of us had received an invitation, but we all went to the wedding.
That didn't matter to y'all any.
No, we were hometown.
Yeah, there you go.
So, anyway, we had a wonderful trip.
Good.
And when we came back, then I went to Temple Junior College. And Jeff, my uncle, who was probably 6 years older than I,
Yeah.
had come back from the service.
Yeah, because he had been in the military.
Yes. And so he and I started school together. And we had a wonderful time.
Now, you once told me that you were part of the, I guess, city council or something along those lines that commissioned the building of the parks, like Stevenson Park.
I was on the committee.
Committee. What committee was that?
Gee, I don't recall. I was on every committee there was
Really?
in town. Yeah.
What can you tell me about all those?
Well, Stevenson Park, I knew the Stevenson family.
Mm-hmm.
So I more or less conversed with them about it. But we got the park for half the price to name it after their family,
Mm-hmm.
Stevenson.
Did they own the land there, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And they had lived there when I was born, just a short distance away.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, that was real good for Friendswood to get that park.
How is it good for Friendswood?
Oh, it's beautiful little
Well, yeah.
park.
I've been there. I
Yeah.
love going there.
Yeah. And then I was on 2 street naming committees. And any committee I was on it.
Street naming committee. That sounds interesting. Did you get to Did you have final say on any of the streets, or did you just choose any names?
But I never did get to name one Holly.
You wanted to name one Holly?
Yeah, we were trying to name some of the streets after trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to name this one street Holly. But one of the committee members lived on that street, and she wanted it Dawn, and so everybody went with her because she lived on it.
Did you get to actually choose any names for any streets, or?
Oh, sure.
What's your favorite ones that you got to name?
Oh,
That you came up with the name for?
I never have thought about that. So I'd have to think about that.
Okay.
Magnolia.
Right over here?
Yeah.
You named that?
Yes.
Really?
I did. And I named it that because that was where the fig plant was. And the magnolia figs were the ones they worked with.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool that's how you came up with that.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you all tried to decide most of the street names, is have some kind of connection to the local community?
Oh, somewhat. Mm-hmm.
I know that there's a lot of friends and some kind of Quaker connection.
Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, like I say, I think I was on any committee that existed. But I don't remember what they were or what we did.
Well, are there any committees that you can remember some of the stuff you did with?
Oh. Huh.
I know I'm asking a lot with that because you're
Yeah.
part of pretty much everything that was a committee.
Yeah. Oh. Well, just acquiring the park and naming the streets and
Anything that you're particularly proud of that you got to partake in?
Mm, can't think of anything like that, but I was just a joiner.
You were just enjoying it. You just like the fellowship of it.
Oh, sure, I did.
Were your friends a part of these as well?
Somewhat, yes. And then we started the, uh, well, Pat Weaver and, I can't think of her name. They actually started uh, the kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a little preschool group where mothers had to take turns teaching 6 weeks at a time or something like that,
Yeah.
or playing with the children. But, oh, I don't know why that name escapes me. But anyway, they did a wonderful job starting out the kindergarten. And I think Randall was in about the third kindergarten class they ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace Leverton was his teacher. And her husband had owned a fig or a fruit canning refinery in Alvin,
Mm-hmm.
Leverton's. But he had died, and Grace moved with her 2 girls into a 2-story, well, up on stilts, really,
Mm-hmm.
summer structure they had down by the creek here in Friendswood.
Mm-hmm.
And she became a teacher.
Okay.
And Grace was real sweet to me. She took art lessons from a lady in Lake City, and she taught me into going over there a couple of times, but I really couldn't afford to pay someone to watch my 2 children and pay for the lessons too. So that didn't work out, but Grace was real sweet.
Yeah.
So then after we started the I guess play school, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
Mothers were supposed to teach, but some of the mothers worked, so I taught for about 3 or 4 of them. So I did a lot of it. Took their place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy that kind of work? Or
Oh yeah, I loved it.
what all would you do with them?
I don't recall.
You just recall that you enjoyed it, right?
I do. Yeah, they were good kids.
Would you teach, like you said, so you were teaching them, or?
Oh yeah, I taught them a few things, and
What
we
would you
played.
teach them?
I taught them a few words, just
A little
to
bit like reading to them.
recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's interesting.
Yeah.
So was this when Randall was a kid, or?
Yeah, and Trina.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't do it much whenever Brady and Jana were?
Yes, I did it some for them too.
But by that point you had other things going on.
Right, I did.
That makes sense.
The big kids were in school, and so I was much more busy being room mother and what have you.
Having to do fundraisers and whatnot.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's see. Okay. One story that I remember you telling me about is the talent show. the the wedding with all of the men.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
what group did you put that on with?
Well, Robbie was president of the Heritage Museum,
Hmm.
which still exists. You know where it's located?
I do not. Where is it at?
At the French Church. If you go to the right.
So right up here, if you turn right, or
Uh, yeah, what it is, a replica of the first home that was built in Friendswood.
I think that's right over here,
Yeah.
like a couple streets down. Yeah.
Yeah. And they built that first home out of the trees that were felled in the 1900 storm.
Hmm.
And, well, I say first home, I'm sure there were some other.
When you say the 1900 storm, are you talking about the hurricane?
Hurricane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure there were some structures, but not nice homes.
Yeah.
And they built this home. And a grandson of the founder
Hmm.
wound up being the owner, and he wanted to sell the property. So he dismantled the house, which made me very unhappy.
I bet.
I wrote a letter to the paper, which we had one that Pearland Journal really, but it sort of shared Friendswood News.
Yeah.
It said one lone voice has been raised in opposition to the dismantling of the Brown home.
Referring to you?
Me. But anyway, he did take it down.
Mm-hmm.
And within a year, we had raised money and rebuilt a replica
Mm-hmm.
at a different location.
Yeah.
It has the stair rail, the original stair rail, and the front door, and a few other things.
Yeah.
But we could have moved that house.
Obviously, yeah.
You know, it was just a shame, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, I worked a number of years with the Heritage Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And when Robbie was president, I took on the role of running things more than I should have, I'm sure, but put together this talent show. And we met at my house and formulated what we were going to do, about 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fabulous. Fabulous. There was a couple out of Pearland that called and said they'd film it for $100.
Yeah.
And I said no, because I thought that there'd be people in Friendswood that would film it, especially students.
Yeah.
But all the students were away that weekend at some competition.
Mm-hmm.
There was someone that filmed it, most of it, got most of it, and we saw it, but then they let their kids tape over it. I know I was sick, but I should have paid them $100 and got that, because it was like the guest that would arrive for the wedding
Mm-hmm.
would do a talent and then be seated.
Mm-hmm.
And the mayor was Ronald Reagan, and his best friend, Tommy Ballard, was Nancy Reagan. And there was Chris Perner, had real white hair, and at the time of Ronald Reagan's tenure, the Speaker of the House. I can't remember his name, but he had real white hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, Chris played him, and his wife, I don't remember who it was, what man it was, but she had on a dress. He had on a dress just like Nancy Reagan. So that was cute, to have reactions. And the talents were outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a trio. Jerry Phillips, James Blake, I think was his name, and it's going to escape me now. The other one, know it like the back of my hand. But anyway, they sang a song, and then they said they wanted to dedicate a song to the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and they sang, "Oh, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you get better looking each day." Have you ever heard that
No,
song?
I have not.
Oh, well, it was just too cute.
Yeah.
And they sang that, dedicated to the mayor.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
And there were quite a few marvelous acts. Uh, uh, David Hearn was dressed in this frothy, gauzy, apricot colored dress and a ribbon in his hair. He played the violin,
Mm-hmm.
and he could play beautifully.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody's talent was just outstanding.
Were you expecting that whenever you
started it?
Yeah.
Not really.
You're kind of expecting just a bunch of ragtag people to show up and
Well,
do
I was
mediocre
expecting some good
Yeah.
talent, but not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so sorry I didn't have those people come and film it.
It's okay. I like hearing about it, though.
One of those things. Didn't want to spend the money. Was trying to make money. So we did make quite a bit of money, paid off the debt on the museum.
And it's still standing to this day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, I've walked past it several times
Oh,
before.
sure.
I've seen it.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go in.
Now, is that where y'all held the event at, or?
Oh, no, we held it at the auditorium.
Where's the auditorium?
High school auditorium, where the high school is now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was new.
New at that point, but now it's...
And, we had 1,000 people there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that all the Friendswood at that point? Or?
Oh, yeah. Except for the classes that were out of town.
Except for the people who had cameras that could have recorded.
Yes. So, anyway, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
And we were always doing something. We had a hayride.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to have hamburgers and hot dogs out at Penny and Tom Burke's, who lived out on Moore Road.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out through the pasture behind the high school. And Robbie had played out there all of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he was driving the tractor. But unfortunately, he didn't remember as well as he thought he did.
Yeah.
He didn't check it out beforehand. And we went round and round, and I'd see hay on the ground where I knew we'd passed there for. But finally, Penny came in the car and met us. And she left her car and got on the tractor with Robbie. And they found their way back. We had to open the gate and get through a fence, which had never been there. And we pulled into their place and had hot dogs and hamburgers.
By that point, I'm guessing everybody was pretty hungry.
Oh, yeah. And I always said I hated for well, Ballard, whatever his name was, and to finish his drink, and for Connie Stick's husband to finish his ball game on his little radio. Because once they finished and we were still circling, I thought we might have a mutiny on our hands. So I was glad Penny showed up and we made it. And we had a good time. And besides that hayride, and besides the Woman's Wedding show, what else did we do? I don't really remember, but we were always having some event. Oh, we had a style show.
A what?
A style show.
That sounds fancy.
And little tables set up on the porch and in the yard for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And all the business people came. So it was nice.
Was it like a fashion show? Like,
Yeah.
So there was, like a catwalk?
There was a shop in town.
Mm-hmm.
First one ever. And Carol Wicklander was running it. Leon Brown underwrote it, more or less. And so that's what we had as entertainment.
So was that just a one-time deal, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you've told me before that you and your friends did a business venture one time, where y'all started like a shop of some sort?
Oh, yes. It was really, what do you call it? People use things, but we had new things too. And it was Mimi Hart and Elaine Morgan and Edith Linson, myself. I think one or two others started, but they dropped out right away. Well, we four. It was called Quaker Cottage.
Quaker Cottage.
Mm-hmm.
Where was this shop set up at?
Well, if you go to the, let's see. Where were we first set up? Well, I guess right there on 518, just past 2351 on the way to Pearland on the left, there was a little house there.
And so y'all were just in a house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did y'all do that for?
Close to a year, probably. And then Mimi Hart took it over and kept it going. She moved to another location.
And y'all didn't feel like staying along with it, or?
No, I had to leave Jenna or take her with me down there, and that got to be a burden. Yeah.
How old was Jan at this point?
Probably 3.
Okay. So we covered the store idea. What else can you think of?
Hmm. Well, we used to have community night, play volleyball games at the school.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. And that was always fun.
When was this going on?
Oh, during that same period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about, okay, so you said the womanless wedding, Ronald Reagan was the
Mayor,
mayor. Was he president at this time, or was this before that?
he was president.
Okay, so this was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, can you think of anything that y'all did after that that was memorable for you, or?
Mm. The hayride, the womanless wedding, the luncheon and style show, and I don't really remember anything else.
Anything else that wasn't much big after that?
Not as big.
What about before that?
No, there hadn't been that much.
Okay, well, you said that at that point there was just about 1,000 people living in Friendswood. Now, today we have about 35,000 people. So initially what brought people here was the figs, correct?
Yeah, but I don't know when the 1,000 was the population really.
Well, would you say the womanless wedding was most of Friendswood showing up for it?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So what do you think got people coming to Friendswood?
Well, it was just an ideal little community, for
Mhm.
one thing. The school was pretty good, and NASA came into play.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah,
So that started pulling people in, and
yeah.
once Clear Lake kind of filled out,
Oh,
people started moving over
well,
here.
they filled in Friendswood along with Clear Lake.
So they kind of grew.
To, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you can think of
Oh,
that you'd like to share?
not really.
Okay. Well, we'll call it a day for now. And
Okay.
we'll do this again.
Okay.
Let's see.